Dear students, in today's lecture, you will know about the GIS applications in fishery and wildlife. So, the discussion outline or discussion overview of for today is, and our lecture will include about the GIS application in fisheries. That's about the recent trend of GIS applications in fisheries. And also some useful web portals or databases are mentioned. I mentioned here in the recent trend of GIS application that is used in the world, or specifically from the data and info basis, and also the analysis basis portals are databases that can be useful to search and browse to know about the recent trends of GIS in application based on fisheries. Up next, we will know about the applications in wildlife, GIS application in wildlife. So in today's lecture, we can proceed with first with GIS applications in fisheries. How the GIS can be betterly or is applied in the fisheries. Uh, so on that application basis, the GIS in fisheries can be classified on in the four specific categories or broad or major categories. The first one is the presentation or mapping, thematic based mapping of parameters related to the fisheries resources. What does it refers to? It actually means that construction of the distribution maps are parameters from distribution based maps of parameters from fisheries and oceanography, such as like catchment of the fishes area, fishing efforts, etc., temperature and other the related parameters related to the fishery sources. Up next is the fisheries oceanography and ecosystems. What does it mean? In that kind of GIS application for the fisheries oceanography and ecosystem, it refers to research relating to the spatial relationship among fish or fisheries, oceanography, and ecology. In the next broad category, that is the GIS application trend and fisheries, that is about the georeferenced fish resources assessment and analysis. It is about the numerical or spatial analysis and assessment of fisheries resources and fish population abundance. So to analyze this on the basis of spatial analysis, it is the application of GIS in fisheries. The other major trend, that is the fourth category, that is about the space-based fishing management or the spatial based fisheries management. It's a very important aspect of GIS application on management base, because in this aspect, this perspective, it is important as on commercial catches are all georeferenced, supposed to be georeferenced, because if fish being arrested or used or catched at a specific geographic location as a function of the fishing effort, and stock density can be known on that certain location, on that if it is even georeferenced. Management what refers to it means the monitoring of fishing areas, or you can say points or catchments, by fishing managers or the fishing area local authorities that are regulating the fish market or fish management. Decision about the time area closure of fisheries, because we can better manage that fisheries by knowing about the area management or assessment, how much fishes are found there, and so on that specific point basis, by geographic basis. And bycatch and ecosystem management can also be done in that part of the fisheries management in the space-based fishing management. So other applications or other major applications of the GIS in fisheries assessment analysis on that's training in these very recent times. That is the migration dynamics and monitoring, to apply the precautionary approach or conservative approach towards the conservation of fisheries and the environment, like in that environment, that area where the fisheries are being brought up or being arrested, or where the fishes are occurring much. What's actually migration is an important factor here. If we see toward the migration of the fishes, it is an important factor in the marine ecosystem, specifically the fishes, where the distribution of marine aquatic living sources is concerned. because of the application towards the migration and other kind of challenges they are facing in certain environment where they are found. So up next, that is the major application of GIS in the management and assessment of the fishing, about the fishing effort. What does it actually mean? It's the enforcement of fishing efforts or fishing arresting or catchment way to directly to mitigate fishing impacts on a marine ecosystem as well as fish resources. How much fish resources are there? How much catchment or effort will be required for their arresting or their catchment? And what are the relation or their uh, impacts with other marine ecosystem as well. So fishery managers have been giving some priority to monitoring the locations of fishing areas or vessels. In that farm, the management is discussed as also in the last session that we discussed, that also management issue is very important in the aspect of knowing this the assessment and resources based arresting or catchment of the fishes by any authorities or the local area or the focus region area, specifically where the fishing ports are there, fishing areas are there. So that was the major implications of GIS in fisheries and what our trainers going. So up next, I will show here. I will share here the web portals and recent trend-based web portals and databases that are trending these days on the basis of GIS application, specific in fisheries and the related marine resources that can be best applied and also can be surfed and searched for the related analysis and data. If it can also be used in other analysis as spatial temporal based analysis are due for reference based purpose for whole studies or research are going towards the management or assessment of the fisheries in any concerned area or the national, even on the national basis. Either these web portals may be from the US and also from the other data can be from the related areas or continents, but some are specifically related to US, but that's only based on the recent trend that's going in the GIS applications. So what are the recent trend of GIS application in fisheries? So the web portals first here comes is the critical habitat portal, which I have shown here. The reference source is here also given. You can start and browse for the US Fish and Wildlife Service online portal. That's the critical habitat portal. It's a land service actually for information regarding threatened and endangered species. That's why it's given the critical habitat portal. And final critical habitat designation across the United States can be given, because here you see the United States, many states and the endangered species areas can be given, and also the query layers are given, and the thematic there you can zoom in for and you can search for related information and data, and also to carry the related information which you want for your search purpose or for any kind of analysis purpose. The next is the environmental conservation online system, that is ECOS. What's actually it is about? It's a gateway website that provide access to data systems in the endangered species and fisheries as well, of endangered species of the fisheries and habitat conservation program areas, as well as other United Nations related economy data sources of the species that is related to the aquatic ecosystem, but specifically it is related to the fisheries, and you can browse for and search the ECOS on that. You search for the related information of the fisheries and recent trend of the GIS that can be applied in fisheries, and you can better nice and also go for your own ideas to be implemented in the GIS application in the fisheries. What the second last two portals, that is about the National Wild Fish Health Survey database, that is shortcut given here. This web database is very broad. It's actually United States database contains data on pathogen occurrence in free-ranging wild population of the fishes. The pathogens, like I have mentioned, maybe I will mention again in the wildlife as well, that if the disease occurring areas are there for the fish, that's counting the fish, this displays pathogen distribution information and is based on the spatial data generated by fish health centers, because there are many pathogens that is giving the fish the certain kind of diseases. It offers users the ability to obtain maps of the NWFHS, that is that official service database. On user-defined queries, you can give your queries of your own specific research or related information or your requirement, and you could go for your search, and it will give you gather data about that kind of info on database. And visual case reports are also available for each record, and search results may be downloaded in several formats for your own ease and application for further analysis as well. So that's very useful website. You can go for a career. Here is our related to reference search or site for both subsites. The last but not least is the North Pacific Seabird Colony Database. Here it's mentioned about North Pacific Seabird Colony Database. Here is given. It stores data on the location, breeding, population size and species, composition of seabird colonies in North Pacific, and it documents colony total about more than 1,000 in Alaska and in the Far East Russia even. That's the Russian range. Each with a few pair to from the few pair to even to this many million up to 5.7 or 5.75 million birds. Why these are important? Because if you know about the seabirds, because they are related to the threatened species or related to the management species of that fishes are living here in that area, in that Alaska area, coastal area in Alaska. So that fishes, if the birds are lying on that, so it management assessment will give you the idea about the data info or related analysis about the fishes or fish species of that area as well. So that was a decent trend about the GIS in fisheries and other major applications, as well as the web portals and databases. You can also search for other web portals or databases and can browse the related spatial query based data information of the GIS trend in the fisheries in these days. Up next is the GIS applications in wildlife. What's actually the GIS application in wildlife? GIS applications in wildlife is actually effective tool for managing, analyzing, and mapping the wildlife data, such as especially and broadly in broad and measured basis, the population size and distribution, habitat user preferences, and change in the habitats and regional biodiversity. So GIS in that terms basis and that perspective can be used for collecting, analyzing, updating and managing data in wildlife management or research projects. GIS obviously act as a computerized database management tool that offers solution for planning, like to manage and analyze, problem analysis and monitoring wildlife. So that was the basis about the GIS applications in wildlife. What are the major other trends going on in the GIS application in wildlife? So some major applications of GIS in wildlife can be home ranges, to use it for the home ranges, for the habitat selection, biogeography based assessment analysis, and many different assessment analysis of the results, and also the visualization of both thematic and statistical data. What being the home ranges, like if you are go for the biogeography or the range where this is home to or habitat to certain kind of species, so in that basis if we go for that species distribution, so habitat selection can be done randomly or in query base to make that wildlife basis home and a range for certain kind of species of the wildlife and that habitat basis. So habitat selection can be done on a query basis on your own data purpose or in the spatial query, or the facts and figure you have already put it, and also on going on the statistical analysis. What's biogeography based assessment analysis? These are points, if points are then associated with the location specific data. If let's suppose vegetation, like if you give the example vegetation type or distance from certain of water and slope data or elevation aspect or soil type etc of that habitat for that kind of wildlife species. So that can be done in the biogeography based assessment or analysis. Many different statistical analysis of the results can also be applied or can be put layered on that area, like here are 2 or 3 multi layers that can be the vegetation layer also the specific habitat layer. So animals and vegetation type can be even submerged or merged layered That's in the, if the that's the animals area, habitat area, that's the area that is under vegetation. So distance to water can be even like how I mentioned, can be also uh, analyzed from that. Visualization of both thematic and statistical data can be done because GIS makes technology well suited for the monitoring of habitats. That can be even known or can be justified by these all example, as I mentioned, the basic wildlife habitat or biogeography based analysis. So that was the major application of GIS in wildlife. Next are the some other application that are trending in the GIS application for the wildlife. Area found to be suffering from either human disruption, weather, forest fires, or other interferences. These can be the target areas for conservation practices to be implemented, especially in wildlife perspective. Because if the area is so disturbed or degraded for the human, because of the human interaction or the weather, whether repercussions or whether some kind of a phenomenal processes that are not better suited for that habitat. And also the forest fires is the recent instance occurs are happening on there in the Amazon forest fires. So wildlife species were also involved in this, and other interferences can be also anthropogenic as well as natural that comes on in us. So that can be then used for the better conservation for further future perspective of that area in wildlife conservation. Monitoring on the threats to biodiversity. This can be tracked and policies can be then implemented to protect threatened areas, because monitoring after monitoring you better know how to implement the policies or certain kind of law to protect that threatened areas. However, this enables the evaluation of both where conservation practices need to be implemented as well as the current protection plans are also effective, either if these are effective or either they can be implemented further. Up next, applications that come in the major applications or the application that's a census or the population, or you can say the number of wildlife populations and spatial distribution in the rangelands, how much the grazing areas based distribution of that wildlife species or the certain wildlife species that is focus out there. What are their numbers and what can that will be conserved or they can be protected or some kind of management can be followed. The species composition assessment means are refers to rare threatened endangered species that face a risk of extinction that can betterly assessed and then can be betterly conserved on the basis of the GIS applications in that wildlife area to for some kind of species or specific species. And the second last is about the habitat or environmental attributes. Habitat are environmental based attributes applications GIS means the human settlements or vegetation structures, surface water, agricultural activities, etc. in wildlife areas can be betterly assessed to make the that relation of these all parameters or factors with the habitats and environmental beds introduced towards the wildlife areas or wildlife species. So after that, the last but not least, that is the just remotely sense data for the cost effectiveness of an disease control or epidemiology of certain species or wildlife species. The remote sensors I've also discussed in the previous topic of the lecture of the GIS implications in forestry and agriculture. So GIS along with the remote sensing data, if you go for a certain area and you can't access that area, and so for that epidemiology, like even in that case the COVID like but even it's not animals, it's in the human case, but in the animal case if there are certain kind of pathogens or other kind of disease or infectious disease are there, so the epidemiology of the animals, it can be the GIS can be utilized to improve the cost effectiveness of animal disease control, how to better know the area that are under the challenge of that certain kind of disease. So to control or better manage that area, we may better know the updated of data info about the GI animals and diet epidemiology, how much it can spread, what are the effectiveness that disease control against the species, and how much area it can be biogeography it can it can affect, and how much it can be betterly managed or then can be easily controlled. So just along that remote sensing data that can be easily simulated and then can be analyzed and further presented as thematic map in the GIS environment, that can be used a cost effective cost effective measure, and also a very better updated measurement or better way to go to the animals disease control in certain area of the wildlife, certain species. So that was about the recent trend of GIS application in the fishery in wildlife.